Hi, and welcome to TeeVee Games. I hope you're hungry, because today we're discussing the location of meat.
Hi, good to see you. May I help you?
2 Big Macs and a chocolate shake.
Would you like some French fries with your order, sir?
That beef, 3 filet, 2 cheeseburgers, and 4 Cokes.
In the grand scheme of modern history, fast food is a relatively young industry. During the second half of the 20th century, there was the sudden growth of quick-serve, drive-thru restaurants. And the success of McDonald's innovative franchising strategy led to several imitators, all of them offering quick, low-cost, though not necessarily healthy, meals.
McDonald's and you, just around the bend. McDonald's and you, there's an old friend.
By the 1980s, the fast food industry was ringing up $60 billion in sales. It may be no coincidence that workout videos were all the rage during this time. Staying in shape was more of a challenge, considering all the tempting choices available for the burger junkie. McDonald's, of course, remained an unstoppable monster, devouring all in its path like some out-of-control grimace. But alternate choices, such as Roy Rogers, Carl's Jr., and White Castle had their fans.
The bigger the burger, the better the burger. The burgers are bigger at Burger King.
Home of the Whopper.
Burger King stood on top as McDonald's biggest competitor. Much of their success can be attributed to their early marketing. Their burgers were made using a proprietary flame broiler to mimic the appetizing look of grilled patties. Their successful Have It Your Way campaign reminded everyone that they offered burger customization.
Hold the pickle, hold the lettuce, special orders don't upset us. All we ask is that you let us serve it your way.
And like McDonald's, Burger King recognized the importance of marketing to children with their stable of cartoonishly off-putting characters. And then there's Wendy's. Founded in Columbus, Ohio in 1969 by Dave Thomas, not that one, Wendy's prioritized the caliber of the beef patty itself over all other gimmicks. Dave was so invested in the quality that he made the patty square. This was so the beef corners could stick out for everyone to marvel over, instead of leaving it hidden beneath the bun. And while they certainly took pride in their ingredients, advertising was not initially part of their growth plan. The earliest commercial I was able to find, which appears to be from a local ad from 1976, was equal parts whimsical and terrifying. It would take until 1977 for Wendy's to spread the word of square patties and Frosties nationally.
We make them as juicy as we can. If they trickle down your chin a little, we're sorry.
While these commercials exhibited the light-hearted folksiness that would come to be a running theme in their advertising, they were also unremarkable, at least compared to the efforts of their competitors.
Hold the pickle, hold the lettuce, special order donut bread.
For their part, Wendy's did make an attempt at crafting a memorable jingle at the dawn of the 80s.
So let the others have their slogans. Wendy's makes them fresh each day. Serves them up to you hot off the grill.
256 way!
While cute and upbeat, it wasn't something that people would be humming on their way to the salad bar. Although they probably put their best songwriters to work on the employee training rap.
Now there you go, Billy, you give it a shot. Don't be afraid, I think you're gonna be hot.
For a short time in the early 80s, Dave Thomas was the face of the Wendy's ads. His calm voice was as comforting as the restaurant's carpeting and old-timey newspaper table decoration. But while his paternal warmth helped make Wendy's a solid player in the cutthroat fast food game, they still remained well behind the Golden Arches and the home of the Whopper in both sales and brand recognition. It would take the impatient bark of a squat octogenarian to make any significant gains on those fronts.
Who called this meeting? Not me. I don't know. I did.
Born in 1902 in Illinois, Clara Peller spent much of her adult life working as a manicurist. As fate would have it, a commercial shoot near her Chicago salon was in need of a manicurist for a bit part. A production assistant picked Clara for the role. It was then the commercial's director, Joe Sadelmeyer, knew he discovered someone special.
Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. And in conclusion, Jim, Bill, Bob, call Fred, Low, Dork, 8 and 10.
Sadelmeyer's eye for quirky talent showed in his 1981 Federal Express spot, featuring Guinness record holder, speed-talking John Machida.
Ed, it's time to take the rabbits to the pet store. I think I'll rent a trailer.
Clara Peller was a perfect fit for Sadelmeyer's vision. Her 4'10" stature and frail appearance stood in stark contrast to her booming, raspy voice. Her dialogue was limited due to her emphysema. Also an obstacle was her hearing loss, which necessitated a physical poke or tug by an off-camera stagehand when it was time for her to speak. Nevertheless, her dedication to professionalism and reliability kept her busy, In late 1983, Joe Sadelmeyer was tasked with directing a new ad for Wendy's entitled Fluffy Bun. The original concept involved a young couple who couldn't help but admire the large buns of their burger. However, upon removing the comically oversized bun, they'd be greeted by a pathetic, unappetizing grill patty. Sadelmeyer convinced Wendy's to replace the young couple with a pair of sweet old ladies. Then he brought in Clara Peller to act as the bull in the china shop. She was to express her dissatisfaction by loudly proclaiming, "Where is all the beef?" However, due to her emphysema, she had trouble getting that line out, so it was shortened.
Where's the beef?
The commercial began airing on January 10th, 1984.
Where's the beef?
And with Clara bellowing those three words, the 80s had itself a new catchphrase. America instantly fell in love with the slogan. As hastily as new ads featuring Peller were airing, merchandise featuring her likeness and or the slogan were churned out. I know what you're asking, and the answer is yes. Of course there was a board game. Even a card game.
$1.99 for a whole darn meal.
But likely the most peculiar promotional item to bear the Where's the Beef slogan was the 7-inch single. The song, written by legendary Tennessee DJ Coyote MacLeod, featured samples from Clara Peller's ads over Coyote's retelling of the commercial's plot through rap.
Got no response from ringing the bell, and that's when she started to yell,
"Where's the beef?"
When I hear your new ideas, I'm reminded of that ad. Where's the beef? Yeah.
The Where's the Beef slogan was so ubiquitous that Walter Mondale used the phrase during the 1984 spring primaries to criticize the policies of his rival, Gary Hart. Wendy's, meanwhile, saw its annual profits increase by an outstanding 31%. Clara also benefited from the popular series of commercials. She spent much of 1984 traveling around the country with her daughter Marlene.
How am I doing? You're doing very well, and I hope you keep it up.
Numerous television and personal appearances followed.
Will you say "Where's the beef" for me one time?
Did I what?
Will you?
Clara had a cameo appearance in the 1985 film Moving Violations.
Where's the beef?
Right here, ma'am.
That's cooked.
That same year, she would appear in a commercial for Prego spaghetti sauce.
I finally found it.
What Clara was alluding to when she declared "I finally found it" was lost on no one, especially Wendy's. The restaurant ended their relationship with Clara and ceased the Where's the Beef campaign immediately, citing a breach in the non-compete clause of her contract. The end result of Wendy's knee-jerk reaction to Clara's Prego commercial was slightly devastating. Their momentum came to a sudden halt, losing all the brand awareness they had earned during the campaign. It would take another 5 years to regain some recognition, which they had done by once again coaxing founder Dave Thomas back in front of the camera. He remained the face of Wendy's advertising until his death in 2002. Clara was disappointed but never bitter, though her demand did decrease sharply. Her last appearance was in April 1986, serving as guest timekeeper for WrestleMania 2. She would pass away a year later at the age of 85.
Where's the beef?
Where's the beef?
In 2011, Wendy's aired a commercial that took a playful look back at their most popular slogan. Meanwhile, Where's the Beef became pretty much the go-to reference whenever the topic of 1980s pop culture comes up. But the words are usually orphaned from the woman who made them famous. It's a pity since, as Joe Sadelmeyer pointed out, Clara's delivery was half its appeal. In 2010, Marlene Neckley's penned a biography telling the story of their travels during her mother's short but memorable time in the limelight. In her book, she described Clara as a voice for the elderly, a group that is all too often overlooked and neglected. Years later, Marlene teamed up with musician and retro blogger Jeff Shell to pen a musical based on the Clara Peller story. Entitled Clara and the Beef, the musical details the relationship between Marlene and her mother through song. While it appears they haven't yet moved forward with production as of the date of this episode, you can still visit the website to hear some of the music they've written for the show.
One more time.
Where's the beef?
But even if the musical doesn't happen, Clara Peller's legacy is still quite impressive. Commercials, movies, television appearances, merchandise, Walter Mondale, WrestleMania. Not a bad way to celebrate your golden years. And all because of 3 words. An advertising slogan, sure, but words that seem to make a lot of people happy, most especially Clara.
Young man, can't you hear her call? She don't see no beef at all.
Where's the beef?
Cop and catch the thief, the one who stole his lady's beef.
Where's the beef?
Meeny, meeny, miny, moe.
don't think there's anybody back there.